disclaimers that this is, in our opinion, it's not financial advice. Do your own research. We are a SEC registered advisor, and this is not a recommendation to buy or sell any security. So let's get right into it. I'm gonna switch my share here, make sure I'm sharing the right thing. Here we go. All right. So this is 22 truths about Tesla. See if I can get over the full screen version. Here we go. All right. So 22 truths and a few more. We're going to address myths and misconceptions about Tesla and what really sets Tesla apart from other automakers and other companies. And I'll share some opinion about Tesla's future. Let's go. First thing we're going to talk about is driver experience. With the Tesla, you just get in and drive. You can even pre-warm your vehicle from the app before you get into it. You just switch into forward or reverse, and when you're done, and as soon as you open a door, your car is going to automatically change to park. Teslas have instant acceleration, far more than you need to get out of a bind or accelerate at a traffic light. Now, ICE vehicles, which are gas or diesel cars, have an unavoidable lag, and few other EVs have the strength to match Tesla's in acceleration. I won't bore you with all the power graphs of all that. Even the most modest Tesla vehicle provides power that far exceeds other comparably priced electric vehicles. The Tesla Model 3 outperforms any other brand's base level EV product in terms of power and acceleration. Tesla vehicles provide the highest range regardless of how you calculate it. Here's a graph where basically the farthest range is at the bottom. So it's dominated by Teslas. You have all these red circles with the T's, and the price per mile of range is the lowest among Teslas, except for when you get to the uber luxury of the Model S and X. So basically the farthest, it goes from top to bottom. Like the farther you go down, the higher the range. In a long journey in a Tesla, there's no engine vibrations. There's no engine, there's an electric motor, and nor mechanical noise to wear you out, so you end up fresh and relaxed at the end of your journey. There's no gear changes, and you have a completely smooth ride from start to finish. I'm not trying to sell you a Tesla here. I'm just telling you about differences between Teslas and other gas and diesel cars. The battery placement under the floor and central to the car gives it a low center of gravity and excellent driving stability, making driving pleasurable and lower risk. The combination of simplicity, user-friendliness, ease of use, responsiveness, stability, and convenience make driving Tesla a pleasure, and users end up wanting to drive more as a result, so they're addictive. Teslas are far superior to traditional vehicles in terms of driving style, convenience, performance, safety, and technology. And the acceleration of the car is amazing. Or as Elon Musk says when asked if they're like a golf cart, he says, it's one hell of a golf cart. So if any of you have a Tesla, you can go ahead and type in the chat and what it's like to drive your Tesla. This picture on the top is the battery skateboard, and that provides weight that's low to the ground. You see there's no huge motor here. I mean, huge engine here. And the fourth thing here is people say, I will never buy another gasoline powered car. That's like 80% of people that own a Tesla Model 3 in the survey said that. Satisfaction among Tesla owners is really high. They're extremely satisfied with their cars, and Tesla has the highest satisfaction rating among all car brands. And this is the Net Promoter Score. So it's higher than Apple and all that. So like basically, Tesla owners are promoting the cars to other people. They're the sales force. So we'll talk about marketing. Tesla has become extremely well known and famous for its pioneering and cutting edge products without spending any money in advertising. This means that its annual budget can go into continuously upgrading its products, expanding its supercharger network, that's where you charge your car, and scaling its customer services and investing in research and development for future improvements. Tesla has probably the most powerful viral marketing of any product on the planet. It does not need to advertise because the owners of Tesla vehicles become so enthusiastic about their cars and cannot stop talking about them to friends and family. I'm definitely guilty of this. Tesla vehicles are monitored over the air by Tesla, and over the air updates are fed to the vehicle's computer system to improve the cars over time. They remain like living organisms that get regularly refreshed and aren't frozen with unchanging systems like traditional Stone Age cars. So on this timeline here, on the left is milestones in production and deliveries for Tesla. And then on the right side is the software updates that they've released. Sorry, it's a little fuzzy there. Satisfied Tesla owners serving as a product's best marketing ambassadors. As I said, Teslas are addictive, and Tesla owners can't wait to talk Tesla and can't shut up. And it's said that the typical Tesla owner enjoys their vehicle so much that on average, they end up driving more miles per year than with their previous vehicle. I've often seen on Twitter where people are driving 20 to 50% more than the miles they put on annually. Once you've decided to purchase a new Tesla, the order process is online. It's very simple, very quick. And when your new car is ready for you, the delivery of a new Tesla can literally be done in 5 minutes. I bought 2 Teslas, and you basically sign 5 or 6 pieces of paper and you're done. There's no like a high pressure thing for an extended warranty where they sit you down and make you sign documents over 45 minutes. It's none of that. So Tesla has demonstrated that electric vehicles are no longer a niche product, and every day we hear new announcements from countries committing to halt the sale of gas engine vehicles, and from the legacy automobile makers determined to switch their products to electric propulsion. Electric cars are replacing gas cars because they are in fact superior in many ways. This chart is showing China retail sales, and on the top side you have the B-size sedan, and the Tesla Model 3 is the highest selling sedan year to date out of any car model in China, and China's car market is rather large. Also on the B-size SUV, they just started selling Model Y this year and are still ramping the factory. And Model Y is like around in the top 5 here, but pretty soon, in my opinion, I think it's safe to say that they're going to become number 1. So let me make sure. Okay, I don't want to get lost here. Electric cars are competing to replace gas cars across the global car market, and they will hardly find themselves competing with each other for a very long time to come. Tesla Model 3 trade-ins are 98% gas vehicles or hybrids, and only 2% full battery electric vehicles. So really, they're not competing with other electric vehicles, and that won't be the case. That'll continue to be the case for a long time to come. The pace of replacement is accelerating. Here we can see Ford sales are down 2.5 million vehicles per year. GM sales are down more than 2.5 million vehicles, and they're generally worse this year or about the same. And you see Tesla is rapidly increasing, and electric vehicles in general are growing at a rate higher than 50% globally. So Tesla's found worldwide acceptance for its products from its very beginnings, and it's emphasized global sales. The same product is equally popular on the streets of Europe, North America, China, Asia, and Australia. The Model 3 is the #1 selling vehicle of any kind in Europe in September. And Tesla is now supporting this popularity with commitment to building up its production capacity in 3 major economic regions in the world. The existing vehicle plants are in California in the US, Shanghai, China, will soon be supplemented with new plants in Texas in the US, and Germany and Europe. So awareness of Tesla is growing, but knowledge is still limited. And this creates interest in a product that's best achieved by giving a ride in one or getting one. And desire grows naturally from real user experience of the product and familiarity with it. So what we can see here is worldwide on the left side, consumers very likely to buy a battery electric vehicle as their next vehicle has grown from 11% in 2019 to 25% in 2021. So it's more than doubled. And that's led Tesla to have a strong back order for all of its models worldwide. Many of these back orders stretch for 6 months or more. Also on the marketing side, a lot of the legacy manufacturers have spent so much time selling gas and diesel cars, and VW's got in trouble for its clean diesel. Here, the CEO of VW posted on LinkedIn, and each pair here is a gas or diesel pair with a full battery electric pair. And what they're showing there is that the cost per kilometer and the cost per month is lower with these battery electric vehicles. So VW and other people are basically educating the consumer for Tesla. And then many consumers, what they do is they'll compare the VW model to the Tesla, and then make a decision from there. And Tesla's not even spending money on advertising. They just have to pay for having a website up. Also on the marketing side, Hertz has come out of bankruptcy. They're the 2nd largest car rental business in the world. And they're using the Tesla brand to help give them a halo. And here they've put their full marketing weight with the Tom Brady-led commercials about it. He's the best quarterback for a long time, and for me as a Colts fan, it's really hard for me to say that, but Hall of Famer here. So the Hertz deal is a really big deal, and we'll talk about that a little later. Let's talk about cost and convenience. Make sure I didn't miss anything here. So you don't have to go to the gas station again. You plug in your car at home at night, and it's fully charged for you by the morning. So it's just like a smartphone. 98% of your charging is done at home if you have a daily commute. And if you go on a long trip every 1 or 2 months, you no longer need to set aside time each week to go to the gas station or be upset that you forgot about it or have to detour. When charging at home at a rate of 10 or 11 cents per kilowatt hour, you'll save approximately 80% versus the cost to propel a similarly sized gas car. For every $10 per day that I used to spend on my commute with gasoline, I now spend $2 on electricity. Tesla builds their own chargers and superchargers. So they build the charging stations themselves, and they build them in Buffalo, New York, and in China. And so they own and operate these gas pumps and gas stations, so to speak. So they have a network of fast chargers along the interstate, and they own that. Let me get a little water here. So if you go on a long trip, the Tesla Supercharger network has you covered. For example, Indianapolis has several supercharger stations, and Zionsville and Carmel on the north side, Betrove on the south side. Then Indy is surrounded by supercharger stations in Maryville, Northwest Indiana, Lafayette, Terre Haute, Bloomington, Louisville, Cincinnati, Richmond, Dayton, Fort Wayne, South Bend, and Kokomo. So you're essentially ring fenced by chargers all over. And then the time you get home, then you plug it in at home. So it's going to help you on long trips for sure. And the Tesla Supercharger network is very effective and strong. It's got great uptime and customer experience. Your Tesla tells you where to stop. It automatically comes with up-to-date navigation that's beautifully displayed in your car. And when you navigate to your destination on a long trip, your car tells you where you'll need to stop for charging and how long you will need to charge to get to your next destination. Generally, charging stops happen every 1.5 to 3 hours. Charging with superchargers generally takes between 20 to 40 minutes, depending on how long you've driven and how fast you're going. Here in this picture, person's traveling from Niagara Falls, and they have nearly a full charge. And so it's saying that they'll make it to Irwin, New York with a 45% charge, and will need to charge for 25 minutes in order to make it to New York City. So you don't have to figure it out yourself. Just about the only maintenance needed on Teslas is windshield wiper fluid and new tires. You do not need oil changes, and most of the braking on a Tesla is done with the electric motor. So getting the brakes replaced is very rare. So there's an additional time savings there. So, any aggravation on longer trips is canceled out with not having to go to the gas station, not having to need oil changes or brakes replaced. There's no transmission that can break down after 150,000 miles. The motors and drivetrains last 1 million miles, and batteries may need replacement at around 350,000 miles. Usually, though, the seats will need to be replaced before that. You no longer need to haggle with a salesman for half a day. Tesla's cut out the dealers completely. When you take delivery, you don't have to listen to those offers that I was talking about before. The final price is clear up front when you order the vehicle, and Tesla is passing on the savings from dealer markups, servicing, and financing along to you. Car dealership associations have fought to prevent Teslas from being sold direct to consumers in a number of states, and this is still true today because they do not want to lose those lucrative margins. So people who want to order a Tesla in those states have to pick up their Tesla in another state. Dealers primarily make their money from two sources: regular maintenance servicing and lease financing. Electric cars do not need oil changes, regular adjustments, and frequent servicing. So dealers view them as unprofitable in the context of their self-centered business model, and car dealers do not want to sell EVs. GM recognized that Cadillac electric vehicles will be less profitable to the dealer, and in November of last year, in 2020, they offered all Cadillac dealers a $500,000 buyout if they wanted to sell out of the dealerships for Cadillacs and no longer sell Cadillac, because they're going full EV with Cadillacs. And what happened was around 1 in 5 Cadillac dealers took GM's offer. So many minor damage repairs, adjustments, and tire changes can be carried out in the field. So Tesla has developed a fleet of mobile service vehicles that come to you and fix your car at home or work while you enjoy your day. There's no need for a loaner or take time out to drive out of the way to a service center and then drive back, and they don't have your parts. Tesla is continuing to expand both the capabilities and the reach of this mobile fleet, and this is the real way to provide customer convenience. Tesla's focused on making the entry price for its mass market vehicles highly affordable. Prices have gone up this year because of the shortage of vehicles, but prior to this, they had been going down. And it's continuously looking for ways to bring down the initial product costs in addition to already achieving lowest operating costs in the industry. Tesla leads the market on a cost per mile basis, clearly beating the gas and diesel alternatives, and it's superior to battery electric vehicles comparables of similar performance. Right here, you see that Tesla Model 3 trounces the BMW 3 Series. This is why Tesla has become the #1 selling luxury brand in the United States. And it's very comparable to a Toyota Camry on a cost per mile basis, even though the Tesla Model 3 costs about $15,000 or so more than a Toyota Camry. So let's get into manufacturing. We want to talk about advantages that Tesla has. So at a corporate level, Tesla will soon be one of the only truly worldwide automobile manufacturers. 100 years ago, Henry Ford owned this distinction with large-scale manufacturing plants in many countries, but Ford has been in strategic retreat for many years and does not have that characteristic today. Tesla is continuing looking for ways to improve the manufacturing process, to improve cost, quality, and performance, and vehicle longevity. So when they lower the cost and increase the value to the consumers, they just have an unbeatable combination. And they made specific acquisitions, acquiring Groman, that does vehicle manufacturing automation, Maxwell that does battery electrode manufacturing, Highbar with high-speed battery equipment. All these things are lowering costs for Tesla, and working closely with the Idra group to make the GigaPress. And we'll talk about that in a moment here. Vertical integration with Tesla is combined with robust attention to product detail in both design and ease of manufacturing to lower costs. Assembling a vehicle involves many complex parts, putting them together, and Tesla is systematically eliminating the number of parts needed through innovative castings, this is shown below, and streamlined design, resulting in greater vehicle strength, so it's better product, and less manufacturing complexity and cost. So here on the left side is the Model 3 underbody, and it uses over 70 pieces of metal. This is the way most car manufacturers make it. And this requires 300 robots in the body shop. So what Tesla was able to do, and they've since got this down to one piece of metal, is work with Idra to cast this all in one piece of special aluminum. So they're getting rid of those 300 robots. They can make these pieces in a minute and a half and make cars much more efficiently. And what Tesla has done since then is they're making the front underbody in one piece for the Model Y, and eventually these will make it to other vehicles in their lineup. Sorry about that. So let's see here. Tesla launched the Model S in 2012, had the largest capacity and most efficient battery packs ever used in an automobile, and they further improved on this. In 2018, the price per kilowatt hour for the Model 3 was $132. And the Model Y in April of 2020, and I have one of these that was made around that time, Monroe and Associates, who tear down vehicles, they estimated this cost to be dropped down to $92 per kilowatt hour. So this essentially saves Tesla $3,200 per Model Y, which is their crossover SUV. So that's a huge savings, and their competitors are around 130 or more per kilowatt hour. So Tesla has a huge cost benefit to the competitors right now. And they've further dropped that cost down, and Monroe estimates that in 2025 with the 4680 battery type, that they'll drop that cost down to $50 or less. And so we're talking here about the 4680 cells that further innovate battery cell and pack design, and they're continuously evaluating and adapting new and more efficient cell chemistries and ways of sourcing and using required raw materials. So it's a focus on cost, but these batteries are performing better for the cars too. So this picture has a kind of funny story to it. Volkswagen, and this was more than a month ago, they had a crisis meeting with their top 120 managers, where Herbert Diess, who's the CEO, he basically said that Tesla makes cars from start to finish in the factory 3 times faster than the best Volkswagen factory, and they use half the labor that Volkswagen uses. And then a meeting after that, he literally brought Musk in to talk to his 200 top managers. It's kind of like inviting the wolf into your house and to have Musk explain what Tesla's done so well. So it's pretty wild that this happened, because Tesla is building a plant in Berlin, and they're going to be taking talent from Volkswagen, and I'm guessing morale is pretty low at Volkswagen, because they're having to scrap their plans, and like they're hoping to catch up to Tesla in 2025 to where Tesla is now, but Tesla isn't going to rest on its laurels, and we'll get into why in a moment when we talk about talent and technology. So Tesla is the #1 employer of choice for engineering graduates, and they're continuously recruiting in this field to strengthen human capital. Tesla is the only automaker in the top 10. So, you know, when engineers are coming out of Vanderbilt and Purdue and all these different places, they're looking at Tesla and SpaceX as their #1 and #2 choices. And Ford and GM are like in spot number 15. So all these other companies are picking over the best engineers before Detroit even has a chance to get to them. Tesla is also in the top 10 for computer science students. So what Tesla does is they patent their innovations, but also open those patents for use by others. So what this does is it ensures that others cannot later block them from using their own innovations, but the competitive advantage comes from using those ideas better and more quickly than others who rely on long development cycles and do not appreciate the value of innovation when they first see it. For example, the GigaPress that I showed you earlier, Legacy Auto knew they could try and do that like 20 years ago, but they never did it. So turning good ideas into real life improvements quickly is more valuable in the market than just having good ideas. Many automakers use the same ideas as each other, the same designs and parts as their competitors, and rely heavily on marketing expenditures and image building to differentiate their products to potential customers. Tesla focuses instead on the engineering of the product to create a superior user experience. And probably the most significant illustration of that is in the electric motors that power their vehicles. And these power characteristics surpass anything offered by competitors at equivalent price points. The performance of the 2012 Model S remained unmatched by any other automaker until the year 2020. So it took them 8 years to match the 2012 Model S on range and performance. And its leadership in production vehicles will likely be taken over by the 2021 Model S counterpart. Tesla has the lowest cost batteries and continues to drive battery costs down further in a relentless pursuit of affordability. So this first principles approach that Tesla uses instead of incrementalism to solve many engineering challenges. So this means they start with a blank page. They go from the bottom up. And one of the innovations this resulted in is the octave valve control system, which helps cool the car. So this is pictured here. They've also re-engineered the cylindrical battery to increase its power and safety, the battery pack, and just in general, the rest of the industry has been slow to innovate during the last 40 to 50 years after the development of the Toyota manufacturing system and automatic transmission. Tesla's use of neural networks builds robust artificial intelligence capabilities deep into the operations of its vehicles. Like it has automatic wipers and all kinds of crazy things. Automatic bright lights. Tesla writes a lot of their own software, and they do this for customer engagement, supply chain management, manufacturing, logistics, sales, deliveries, battery management, for vehicle operation. That's why they've been unaffected by the chip shortage, for driver assistance and self-driving functions, and for after sales service management. And Tesla has a clear data advantage through their numerous onboard information systems. And these artificial intelligence networks are all about having access to and using a lot of diverse data. Tesla does not have to pay to gather data that it uses to train these neural networks and increase safety. So people are paying Tesla for the cars, they're paying Tesla for the software, and they're driving them for free. This is opposed to Waymo, Waymo's paying for their own car, they're paying an engineer to drive the car, and they're not getting paid by someone else for the software. So Tesla has a huge cost advantage while they're developing their self-driving capabilities. And I'm going to get into this in a moment. So on the manufacturing side, Ford has the Mach-E, and sorry, it's a little fuzzy, but they just kind of made this cooling system the old way they've always been doing it. So they had 35 hoses to Tesla's 10 hoses, and the Ford has 12 more meters of hoses. So it's not just bad that it has the hoses, but inside the hoses is the cooling liquid, and altogether this liquid causes the car to weigh 26 pounds more, and that's a lot. It's just something that's avoidable. Tesla looks to get rid of parts, so they got rid of all these fuses, so they don't have any fuses of these types of fuses in their crossover. So that lowers costs, and it takes away things that can break. So Tesla, with their active safety and the autopilot, gets into 9 times less accidents per mile driven. On the far left is Tesla with autopilot engaged, and on the far right is the U.S. average accidents per mile driven. And what we see is when Tesla drivers have no active safety on, they actually get into more accidents. And when they don't have that car driving for them on the highway, they get into more accidents too. So that's the active safety features only. So when they have autopilot engaged, that's when it's the best. For all of Tesla's models, the IIHS rated them to have the lowest risk of injury from an accident. And it's many of them have achieved the best vehicle safety score ever achieved according to NHTSA data. Model Y has the lowest rollover risk for any SUV ever tested, according to the NHTSA testing. So it was like almost impossible for them to roll over the Model Y, even though they tried really hard. Fire safety is really an overblown risk. Vehicles fueled with gasoline and diesel frequently catch fire because of their inherent combination of high temperatures and flammable fuels. So Teslas are 10 times less likely to catch on fire. But because Tesla is an innovator and blazing a new path, the media focuses on every Tesla fire and every Tesla crash. So let's talk a little bit about money. Tesla has the strongest balance sheet of any automaker. Here we can see on the bars, the green is Tesla's market value, and this is old now. Like Tesla's market value is up here in the above $1 trillion. But what's interesting is the red here is debt, and the white is other liabilities. And many other automakers have debt that dwarfs the total value of the company. And when things change, and as they have to switch over from making gas and diesel power cars to making electric vehicles, they don't just get to get rid of their debt. The debt is going to be weighing them down. Tesla has the strongest automotive gross margins of any mainstream automaker. Tesla's on the far right here. This is an old chart from the end of 2020 annual report, but Tesla's here at 28.8% now in the third quarter. So it edges out Suzuki, which isn't really a mainstream automaker in my opinion. And Tesla's, the percent profit they make from each car is only second to Ferrari. So this is a really big deal. And what's amazing is they're doing this while growing rapidly. So their costs are higher while they're growing rapidly, and their gross margins are great nonetheless. So this chart here, it's showing the trailing gross profit over 12 months. This is an adjusted earnings here on the upper right. On the lower left, it's another earnings measure. And what we're seeing with earnings is that it's appearing to grow exponentially. So it's really hitting this curve where it's growing rapidly. And I'm of the opinion that earnings are going to continue to grow rapidly for the next several years. Tesla makes more money per delivery or per car made. That's why they're valued highly. They're also growing more rapidly, while we saw that GM and Ford are shrinking, and shrinking in a startling fashion. So that's why Tesla has this big difference in valuation compared to other automakers. So here's the growth in deliveries. This chart's made by James Stevenson. What we see here is that it's gone exponential. And the same with the growth in revenues, which is average over 50%. So let's talk about Elon Musk briefly here. So Elon Musk he's dedicated and committed. He runs an agile organization with clear leadership, powerful attention to detail, and a strong and focused culture. He's so committed that when the Model 3 was ramping up, he worked 20 hours a day. and he slept at the factory. And this happened for a long time. When he's interviewed by Axios on HBO, they asked him about it, and he said, "It hurts my brain and my heart." It was just a really tough time for him. But what they were able to do from that was create a robust blueprint for Tesla to follow. So they used what they learned from that terrible Model 3 ramp in California and took that over to implement in Shanghai, China. And this integrated business model that brings improvements to customers without the usual 5-year model cycle delay. So it's a culture of rapid innovation where they're constantly making improvements to their cars, even during the year. But obviously, Musk, in addition to being a billionaire and having the controversy and jealousy of that, he just doesn't fit the mold of a buttoned-up CEO, and he's not spouting endless, meaningless jargon such as digitization and electric mobility and stuff like that. I think my wife said it well, Anne Marie. This is when people were getting on the billionaires in their space race. She said that Elon Musk went to school for physics and economics and is applying his skill set to improve our environment with Tesla, to help those who are paralyzed walk again with Neuralink, and to keep humanity from complete extinction by making us a multi-planet species with SpaceX. And she concludes that I commend Elon for making the impossible possible with his companies. No one has landed a rocket that has gone orbital. No one has done it except for SpaceX. This highlights just the jealousy of people have against billionaires in the space race. Just imagine people sniping at the Wright brothers, and we didn't even know as a society about the Wright brothers flying for 2 years after they did it. It took the New York Times 2 years to find out about what was going on. But it's entrepreneurs, it's inventors that move things forward. So what's causing Tesla's roller coaster ride? Let's get into that, the ups and the downs. Tesla skyrocketed recently. It added $400 billion of value in 12 days, and that's the quickest any company has ever done that with their stock. And a big piece of that is Tesla's third quarter deliveries and earnings greatly surpassing Wall Street expectations, forcing these analysts to upgrade their price targets and their expectations for 2022 and onward. The Hertz deal, which I mentioned earlier, was a huge vote of confidence for the high quality of Teslas. So Hertz is running a rental fleet. So if the Tesla is down and not working, that would not work for their fleet. So Teslas obviously have high quality and high uptime, and they also have low running costs because it's on Hertz for the wear and tear of the vehicle, but there's not that much wear and tear on Teslas. And what's really amazing about this Hertz deal moving forward is that they're looking to buy 100,000 vehicles. And what that's going to mean is once they have that 100,000, they're going to rent each vehicle out to about 10 people per month. So that means 1 million people are going to test drive a Tesla for the first time each month. Now, some people will be repeat people, as time goes on, but that's going to create further demand. And the third piece is that as more and more owners get the self-driving beta software where the car drives itself, their friends and family see for themselves what it's capable of, and they kind of begin to learn that the media is just trying to scare people from Teslas. So let's talk about why Tesla fell back a bit. Elon had to sell some of his stock to pay for taxes. I sent out an email about this before it happened, before Elon got on Twitter and did a poll for everyone. And since Elon is a big seller, the stock has to adjust lower to be able to match all that supply is pressing down. You need to lower the price to be able to match the buyers. So we don't know if Elon's done selling yet. We'll find out soon, but it's a non-issue long term because it's not fundamental to the company. And also with the huge skyrocket that we had, it was a huge sudden move upward. And so it's common to see after that, the stock pause and take a breath after the excitement's over. It's kind of like Christmas Day. Once all the presents are opened, the kids might be playing, but then everybody kind of like gets worn out and takes a nap. So I want to talk about what's possible for Tesla's future. Tesla, they have serious plans to continue to grow their business by 50% per year through the end of this decade. There's this guy, Mark Spiegel, who said that for Tesla to hit 500,000 cars in 2020 would imply that they would be growing by over 50%. And he says, no complex product manufacturer has ever grown that quickly from a revenue base of 3 billion or more. And Tesla did exactly that. They hit 499 and 500 or something like that in 2020. So they grew over 50%. So they're doing it. So if Tesla is able to follow through on these plans, this would likely make Tesla the largest automaker in the world by units sold, and they would be surpassing Toyota at that point. The big thing about Tesla's potential valuation is autonomous driving, which is Tesla is working to solve. And I'm showing a picture of the back of my car here. I blurred out my license plate. I have the beta version of this software on my car. I've been using it to drive to and from work. I've used it in other situations. We went to a wedding last weekend and drove it around once we got to our destination. So in my opinion, this software is going to be very smooth and good in around 2 years. It's a little herky-jerky. It still makes some mistakes, but Tesla's quickly iterating and updating the cars. And in my opinion, if Tesla fully solves autonomous cars shortly after, we believe that Tesla stock could grow 9-fold or do a 9x in about 9 years. So growing by about 800%. But it hasn't always been easy to own Tesla. And let's talk about that next, but let's just kind of remember the potential here. So first I want to talk a little bit about Tesla's approach. So they have a low cost approach to autonomous driving. So pictured here is a Model Y, and the Tesla just uses 8 cameras. So the software I'm using that's getting me to and from work, it requires minimum interventions from me. And mainly I'm just occasionally hitting the accelerator. Roundabouts are really hard for it, which is difficult to live in Carmel and to have that, but it'll get better over time. And what's good about roundabouts, or what's good to remember, is that roundabouts are very rare, or less than 0.1% of intersections in the US. So here's the competition. The competition is using LiDAR and radar in addition to cameras. So, they're buying the cars, they're buying all this equipment, they're paying engineers to develop this. And if they solve this in any competitor, they're using LiDAR and radar. So their solution is going to be more expensive than Tesla's. And mainly what the other people are doing is they're doing routes from airports to downtown areas. Like you can't drive virtually anywhere like you can with the Tesla. The other thing is, and this is Mobileye, they're testing in New York, and this is the back of their car. They have a literal supercomputer going on here. They got a server and all this crazy stuff. Tesla, they have like one board that goes kind of where the glove box goes. So again, they're using a low cost solution, a solution that doesn't use much power and actually uses under 100 watts. I'm guessing this solution here is probably over 2,000 watts, if not more. Pretty crazy. So let's talk about potential risks. So you just remember all the advantages I covered before that they have over the other automakers, and costs and value to the consumer. But there's three main risks that I foresee is despite Tesla growing by more than 20-fold since April of 2019, the stock has experienced temporary declines of 40 to 60% on about an annual basis for many years. Here I'm showing a 5-year period that starts around June of 2014 and goes to June of 2019. You can see there's a lot of chop in there, and it wasn't easy to own it. It wasn't necessarily going up on a rocket ship. And just imagine like owning it during this period, and you didn't make any money. But now I think there's a bit of a different path, but these annual setbacks can continue. So as an investor, you must be able to tolerate these type of declines and not sell at a low point. Two other risks are that governments have tried to use regulations to slow down Tesla. They try to structure electric vehicle incentives to exclude Tesla or to award Tesla less credits. They try and make it hard for Tesla to use their safety software. So they're lane changing, which is great and nearly flawless. European government or regulators basically made it illegal by writing the rules really weird. So we see it, that could continue in the future as governments protect their big automakers. And the other risk from governments is that they may bail out legacy automakers who've been slow and ineffective to compete with Tesla. We're quickly, as we've seen, we're quickly moving to electric vehicles. It's just a better product, better experience, safer, better performance, more convenient. And these automakers need to get on board the electric train, or they're going to be left behind. And some governments may bail out these automakers